Reminders. Here are some things I was reminded about either today or fairly recently. This morning I was reminded about how much I dislike getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and going out into horrible weather conditions. Unfortunately here the footage doesn't do justice to what the weather was actually like, because the wind was far stronger than what the camera was picking up, and because the rain had stopped just before I started filming, you can't see just how bad it is. But take my word for it, it was unpleasant, it was cold, it was windy, and it was wet. Also randomly, I was reminded of how dark children's nursery rhymes can be. It's raining, it's pouring, the old man is snoring, he went to bed, bumped his head and couldn't get up in the morning. So that's just told me a short story about an old gentleman who banged his head and then became too ill as a result of the injury to get out of bed and possibly died. A ring of roses, a pocket full of posies, a tissue, we all fall down. It's more to do with the plague back in England many years ago. People used to think that posies would ward away the plague. It didn't, and a lot of people died from it. And of course now we sing this nursery rhyme about it. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. It also speaks of how someone falls off a wall, injures themselves and can't recover. Of course there's really obvious things like the Aesop's fables can be a bit darker, and of course you've got things like the Brothers Grimm which are meant to be darker, but things like these are supposed to be taught to young children. They're sing-songy, they're apparently happy, but the true meaning escapes children, which these things are quite sinister. I was recently reminded that I spend too much time doing a singular thing, so I've spent more time looking after myself, less time on Discord, less time on YouTube. When I'm not working my IRL job, I've just done stuff that gave me a chance to relax. That includes buying a new Switch game, the Switch game being Digimon Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, which were two games released individually, now released on one cartridge. According to my save file, I've spent over 250 hours playing that game since I bought it, which sounds like an awful lot, but then when I'm playing it for 3-4 hours when I get home from work, I may play it for a few hours before work, and also I sometimes take my Switch to work when I get a chance to actually have a dinner at work. Although sinking a lot of time into video games is nothing new for me, I find YouTube videos that I make during events happening or about things that have happened recently tend to remind me of these things when I watch them back, and not just remind me of the things I'm talking about in the video, but they remind me more about the whole process. I remember the planning because I'm a big planner on all things journeys. I reminded of daft little things that may have happened on the way just before, little complications, sitting down to book the train travel and talking with individual people. Sometimes the planning is just as exciting as the journey itself. That's a lie. I do enjoy planning immensely. I love the challenge and the logistical implications of getting everything correct and responding to things going wrong, but generally I much prefer being with my friends at the other end of that journey. So now it is time for the Actions Cast, since I'm filming this on a Wednesday. All that remains is for me to remind you to have a great day, keep mattering, and keep reminding us of the better times, because we sure as hell need it in this climate.